and welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, and for the next hour, we will be interviewing a lady that was on my previous show, and we didn't get to finish the interview. And so I am going to reintroduce you. For those of you that did not see the other show, boy, you missed it, but we're going to try to begin where we ended up and revisit some of her questions and some of her concerns and some of her thoughts about the world of media as a media consultant. And I have on my show today, Sharon Howard, who is a well-known personality in the Southern Ohio market. And again, I'm just delighted to resume where we left off. So good morning.
Good morning, darling. We had a ball, didn't we?
We did have a ball. It went like snap, as the kids say.
You said it was an hour. I said that was an hour? Really?
Yeah, but we covered a lot of good stuff, and I wanted to go deeper, and because that was the beginning. But I really wanted to go deeper because you are a unique personality, and I say this because I've interviewed a lot of people over the years, as you have as well. And when you run into that one person that just goes, pow, I'm like, wait a minute, let me revisit some things. So reintroduce yourself to those that do not know you and those that may know you, but reintroduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what makes your world.
Well, as you mentioned, I was born and raised here in the Dayton area, went to the University of Dayton, followed my father, who had also been a flyer, graduated with a degree in communications, and while in school, I got an opportunity to meet people at WHIL television and started working there pretty quickly, and it took me all of 6 months to realize no one at Channel 7 ever left. And so I probably would not be on a fast track there.
Right.
So I jumped ship and went across the street to WDTN, which is Channel 2 in the market, and had a long and healthy career, over 20-year career, where I started in production and moved all the way up to the executive team, and also had my own show and did some news reporting. And so now I'm doing consulting, but I still dabble in media, and I love the digital world, and but the thing I'm most passionate about is the work that I've done over the years in the community. I have a really long tenured career working with nonprofits and community initiatives, and those things bring me joy and make my heart sing. So, you know, you do your work so you can pay your mortgage.
Yes.
But the community work really kind of fueled me, and really the community work that I did, I think, propelled me to the networks that I have today.
And I must say, in looking at your profile and your credentialing, your networks are exhaustive and extensive in this market, including a member of the Ohio Women's Hall of Fame.
With you?
Yes, that's correct. I went in a little earlier, but nonetheless, what a tremendous honor and prestige to have that type of recognition by your community for your service.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is. So what are the challenges? You're out here now and officially in my arena, as I would say, which is a entrepreneur and as a business owner. And what do you find is the challenges, that you're facing with this transition? You're an older woman now, and you're not in your 20s. You've got all this cumulative knowledge and networking. So what are some of the challenges you're looking at today?
The biggest challenge that I've seen is that when you have spent 20-some years where part of your job has been working in the community, and you've done that on a volunteer kind of basis, sometimes people have a difficult transition into saying, well, now you're a business owner, so you have to pay me.
Right.
And that has been not a hurdle I can't get over, but I've had to explain to certain people. And the interesting thing is the people who look to me to give free service are entrepreneurs. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is the message that you preach and have preached to me for years, that you're a small business owner and the community needs to support you. But yet you have an expectation that I'm going to work for free. So it's been a little challenge, but when I explain what I can bring to the party, and that
Exactly.
that no one works for free, that I am now responsible for my own bills, then they get it. But it's just odd to me that I have to have that conversation.
But you know what I think it is because I have been a business owner and I've sold companies and all the above for 36 years. The issue is in the world of business or private sector, as I call it, there are two tiers. You have your corporates and then you have your smaller companies. And most companies are small, they're not big boys.
Sure.
And they become very myopic in their perspective about their survival. So they see everything from the context of what they've gone through.
Sure.
Which is, I'm struggling to make payroll, I'm
Sure.
struggling to meet bills, I'm
Sure.
struggling to do all these things. And they have a hard time transitioning. They really do.
And what I explain to companies, and then and I want to be clear, I have some companies that are run by younger people.
Yes.
Younger people get it. Younger
Yeah.
people get it. They have no issue with paying me for the services I provide. But what I try to explain to companies is, I understand you're in the trenches, and I understand that you are working to keep your doors open. But if you have that one crisis, then your image is challenged. And if you do not invest in the marketing and the public relations piece, and if you refuse to move into the digital world,
Yes.
you are going to be passed up. I have one client, I didn't even know her 6 months ago. She had a crisis situation, and it was her attorney who knows me
Okay.
and said, I think Sharon can help you. And so I did. I helped her get through that crisis situation, but now I'm doing tons of stuff for her because she understands the value in telling your own story and being proactive as opposed to reacting to something that might land you with an attorney or on the news or something like
Right.
that. And that's the hard part with companies. If you're trying to downsize or you're trying to figure out what can I cut in my budget, oftentimes they look at the marketing and PR piece because they can't feel it and touch it.
Right,
you know,
right,
that
right.
they can touch this product
Right,
or whatever.
right.
But all you need is one issue. And if you don't have a plan in place, you'll be calling Olivia Pope on Scandal. Crisis management. And that's what you don't
Right,
want.
right,
You know?
right,
Because
right.
if you do the work up front, and if you have a great public relations platform and a great public relations image, and I have helped you build relationships, then when you have that crisis, your media people, because you now have a relationship, will at least call you first
Right.
and say, tell me your story.
Right.
As opposed to jumping on the air, making a presumption of
Right.
guilt. And you know, I say it all the time. It's hard to say no to somebody that you like.
Yes.
But if you do not invest in that time to meet people and build good relationships, when you have that storm, and rest assured, the storm is coming.
Absolutely. Been there, done that.
May not be
Yes.
today.
Yeah, but it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
You have to be prepared for that. So companies have to understand that you have to invest in your imaging, because at the end of the day, that's all you have.
Well, let me ask you this question, because I've been in media for 30-something years now. I didn't volunteer to go into media, nor did I plan on going into media. I just wanted to talk about money. And so I started writing newspaper columns, really just
About money.
About money,
Sure.
many, many years ago, and it catapulted into television as an expert. And I'm still amazed that so many people do not understand the power of media, and that they play it off, which is, why are you doing this? Why are you writing articles and you don't get paid? And why is this? Why? And I keep telling them, you need to know that you only have one time to show up and blow up.
Well, and you know, the interesting thing is, I think a lot of times people don't understand media. And media is so powerful.
Talk about that, because I'd like you to talk about that.
Well,
from your
you know, people
perspective.
always get so hot and bothered about the Anthony Wieners of the world and all of that. And I'm like, but you have to understand, what he's doing is not new. If you go back to Franklin Roosevelt and all those boys, but they just didn't have CNN and 24-hour news, and they didn't have cameras on a phone. They didn't even have a smartphone.
Right.
So that tells you the power. This little thing right here
Whew.
is so powerful.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I can do everything on this. This is a computer.
Yes.
And people don't understand that it doesn't take but one mistake or one misstep. I always tell people, particularly being in our business, people standing in Kroger believe that they have a right to come up and just talk to you and say anything. Now, that has never bothered me. You know, when little ladies come and want to hug me and I don't know, I hug back. I love it. Some people, they think that when they walk out the door off their job is over. You really are not.
Not so.
Because the world believes they have a right to you. Now, whether that's true or not is not to be argued. The fact of the matter is, it is.
Right.
So I'm not going to get into a long debate about whether or not you have a right to personal life, because I have a right to a personal life. But I choose to have a personal life by doing it privately.
Right.
Okay. So the power of media is such that you have to be on top of your game 24/7. 24/7. I tell young people all the time, you can't go anywhere and not be mindful that somebody has a camera phone. Look what happened to Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is at a private donor deal.
Yeah.
Speaking what he believes is freely, but privately.
Right.
Because I'm in a room with my closest buds.
Right.
But then there's that one wait staff person who has a little camera phone that's sitting right off here. And so you have to always be mindful of what you're doing. The sad reality is that there are people, sick as they may be, who relish in your misery.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell people, because they look, people say to me all the time, particularly people who are my Facebook friends, they will say to me, oh my God, I look at your Facebook page and I'm exhausted because you are everywhere. I don't know, I just don't know how you do all that. And I say to people all the time, but those are the things that I choose to do. And if you choose to do them, then I'm making a choice. People think you have a great life, but they don't understand when you choose to lead.
Yes.
That there is always somebody out there ready to chop your neck off. Right. Now that sounds real harsh, but it's the truth.
But it is the truth.
So some people would rather say, well, I'm just going to stay under this rock.
Yep.
And I don't really want people to know me, and I'm not going to get on Facebook or Twitter because I don't really want anybody to know what I'm doing. But then I say to them, okay, but then that's the difference between Michelle blowing up and being powerful, or Michelle being average. And maybe that's what Michelle wants. Maybe. But that's not your personality.
That's not my personality, but maybe.
But leadership, Barack Obama chose to run for president.
Yes, he did.
And he knew when he did that, there will be haters.
Yes.
When President Bush ran for president, he knew that there would be haters. That's the price that you pay. But you have to also always be mindful that there's always somebody out there who wants to take a shot, ask a question. And the thing that really strikes me as odd is when people get into press conferences, and then they get annoyed with the question that's asked.
Yeah. Like, why are you there then?
And then they get ugly, and then they say something that they end up paying for because they're behaving badly.
Right. And everybody's looking.
But what I tell clients is this, especially public officials, you're going to have to talk to the media. But you can control the message from the media. I've been in media, so I know how to control the message. The problem for most people is they talk too much.
Once they start going,
they say too much.
They say too much.
Media is trained to ask you a follow-up question.
Yes.
Media's role is to try to reel you in, to knock you off your game, to get you to talk more, trip you up. If you have one short message, I made a mistake. See, that's acknowledgement.
Right.
I need to apologize to the community. I made a mistake. But I've learned from that mistake, and it will never happen again. There's a period at that sentence, Michelle.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes.
The media will ask you a follow-up question. Michelle will then say, I made a mistake.
Rewind this script.
I learned from my mistake. It will never happen again. Period. Another question. I made a mistake. You know what's going to happen? Media will stop.
Yes. Yes.
Most people
They will
become defensive. That's what we do.
Yep.
I'm going to be defensive. And then I want to explain.
Head on the platter. Chop, chop, chop.
Don't
chop,
explain.
chop, chop. Right.
Especially if it's stupid. If
Right.
it's something that you did that's stupid or ill-advised, you can't explain that away. I apologize. See how easy that is? I'm sorry.
But the challenge is when you have the repetition. I mean, how many times do you repent for your sins?
Well, no, see, my thing is you say, I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm moving on.
Right.
Because tomorrow's another day.
Right.
I can't. I have always operated with complete clarity. If I have complete clarity, even if you and I disagree, if you're clear, you've stated your case very clearly, then I'm okay with that and I'll sleep just fine. So the fact is, you start by saying, I'm sorry.
Period.
I made a mistake. So see, no, there's not a reporter who could ask you another question that's going to get you any more clear than that.
Right.
I'm sorry, I made a mistake. But
why did you do it, ma'am?
I made a mistake.
But can we count on mistakes out of your... Yeah, okay.
Because you know what? I'm right here on earth as a human being. Human beings fail.
And make lots of mistakes.
And make mistakes.
Yeah.
Bad judgment.
Right. But you know what? When you look at these types of things on television, because I'm a keen watcher, I like that stuff. They fall every time. I watch it and I'm like, why don't you shut up?
Here's my signal to some people, and they know who they are. I hope they're not watching. Whenever I do this, that means stop. But I had a friend of mine who got in trouble, made a mistake, and I gave her this advice. Say this. She had another person say, you need to explain, it was like 5 paragraphs.
Nah, you're boring me. Yeah.
And I don't believe it because you're fighting so hard to be defensive.
Right.
Don't be defensive. Don't be defensive.
But isn't it back to, and I say this because television, including this show, shows so much. It shows the unspoken. Because you can look at a person's response unspoken and get clarity right then.
Oh, gosh.
Can you get clarity? I think about Barbara Jordan. She's now deceased, but was that a powerhouse woman? And you'd have to be a real slow learner not to pick up her unspoken. I've
gotten better.
Okay.
Years ago, I've always guarded my mouth. That's the line I used to. But what I used to do is, because the one thing that I just cannot stand, that sends me like over the top, is when it's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even care if you and I disagree on a subject matter. If you can stand up there and defend your position, even though I don't agree with it, I will respect your right to defend it.
Got it.
But if it's stupid, I'm done. And so what I had to learn is to not let my face say, that's real stupid.
Yeah.
Because somebody would say something, and before I didn't even know it, I was like, really? Really? Yeah. So I had to learn to try to keep this
poker face, the banker's poker face, which is bite the inside of your mouth.
But inside I'm saying, you're real stupid.
You're problematic.
And I guess what I mean by that is I don't mean someone who is challenged educationally. What I mean is, okay, you are a congressman, or you are, that's just stupid. You're just stupid. Like what big time public officials going to take personal pictures of yourself in your underwear. You know what?
Yeah, right.
You know what?
Right,
and
right.
then you are surprised that
Right.
people are out. That's just stupid. See, to me, that's just stupid. So to me, there's no defense. Don't even say I'm sorry to me. Don't even say I'm sorry, because that's stupid. You have an education. You've been afforded so many opportunities.
Yes.
You have all this power that you've now feeding off of, and
Yeah.
you believe that you can do whatever you want to do. That's stupid. So now there's no defense for me.
So who was his media consultant?
He didn't hire me, and so
I didn't hire you?
because his media consultant was his ego.
Oh, no. No,
Hello?
I mean, oh, yeah, okay.
That's what got him in
Okay.
trouble. His media
But
consultant.
wouldn't you find fertile pasture with that whole group? Politicians are by the nature of the beast, ego driven. I mean, their world is about, look at me. Look
Yeah.
at what I do. Look at how I do it. Look at how I exercise. Look at me. Aren't I wonderful?
But what I always say to people, and usually when I say this, it is directed to people who I look and I go, did you look in a mirror when you left your house? Usually it's about what you have on. And what I'm talking about is the worst thing that you could ever do is lie to yourself.
Isn't that
Now
the
lying
truth?
is bad all the time.
But to lie to yourself.
But to lie to yourself, like
Ah.
I pulled into the parking lot at the credit union.
Okay.
Car pulls up next to me. I look over and I'm like, really? Okay, you did not look in the mirror before you left because you are dressed inappropriately.
Right.
I know who I am, and I know that I'm not a size 2. There are certain things I can and cannot wear.
Exactly.
So don't lie to yourself. The other politicians must not lie to themselves. They get so caught up with people saying, and see, the problem is we have paid staff. They have paid staff. And paid staff's sole job is to suck up.
Exactly.
So they're running around, they're picking up your
Yeah.
dry cleaners, they're telling you you're fabulous, and so you start believing it.
Yes.
So what is that? You're lying to yourself.
They need to talk to their mothers.
Yeah, because you're lying.
'Cause mom will bring 'em back.
You're lying
Yeah.
to yourself. So when you get ready to do something stupid, like you know you're married, you know you have children, but I'm going to play with this little girl over here and think that she's not going to do anything or she's not going to tell, you're lying to yourself.
But it happens, I'm telling you, I am amazed, even all the way to the White House, why that lying to yourself. They have people that are, don't they retain people like yourself?
They do, but most people are trying to keep their jobs, and most people are afraid to tell other people the truth because they think they're going to be fired.
They could be. That's
So
not
but most people are protecting their gig. So if you're protecting your job, I'm going to say, I work for Michelle. I believe Michelle wants me to say, Michelle, you're gorgeous. Michelle, you're fabulous. Michelle, you're just the best television person on the face of the earth. And so when Michelle gets ready to do something stupid, I'm going to say to Michelle, because I want to keep my job, it's going to be okay, Michelle. Instead of saying, Michelle, that's not a good move.
No.
You really don't. Michelle, you shouldn't wear that. Michelle, not a good look.
Yeah.
Most people won't do that because they are looking out for themselves. So we don't, people are afraid, most people are afraid of confrontation. Most people don't want it. And so I say to people, it's not that you're being mean. If you love somebody,
You tell them the truth.
if you want someone to be successful, then help them be successful by telling them the truth.
That's a hard call.
That's a hard call.
Really.
But here's how it can work, and it can be a positive experience.
Okay.
If I work with Michelle and Michelle trusts me and Michelle believes in me and Michelle understands that she has a skill set, but Sharon has a skill set. And if you believe what I do is good, you will listen. But if I don't have any respect for you or you don't have any respect for me, because if you're a mealy mouth and you just tell me what you want to hear, you don't respect that.
I agree.
So you have to have the confidence in yourself that you know what you're talking about. I don't do hair. Okay, I am not a cosmetologist. I don't
Right.
have a license to do hair. I can do my hair, but that is not my area of expertise. So when I go to the salon and she says to me, Sharon, you really putting too much heat on your hair. Sharon, you need to back off on some of that color.
Right.
My job is to respect her area of expertise and do that, but not ignore it. That's what I pay her for.
Right. Right.
So it's a hard call. Most people are afraid to tell the truth. Most people won't confront somebody if they believe it's going to be a difficult challenge. That's why some people make great department heads. Some people are better as support staff. When I transitioned from being entry level and moved into reporting for people, people had to report to me, it was a transition I had to make, and I had to do some things.
Okay. What, as in what?
Well, you know, before you might all go out to lunch
Yeah,
together and
yeah,
hang
hang
out.
out, yeah.
I didn't do that.
No,
It
can't.
didn't. There's no rule that said I couldn't, but I knew that me having personal relationships with people who report to me could be difficult if I have to evaluate their performance.
Exactly.
So the best thing for me was to make sure that there was a clear delineation of lines and to not cross those lines. But at the same time, I was not afraid to make difficult decisions.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I had a young girl, she had gone to Chicago for the weekend party.
Okay. That's what young people do.
Flight got delayed, I don't know. And so she wasn't able to fly in until Monday morning.
Okay.
So my desk is here, her office is there, but my desk faces her office. And I'm working, and all of a sudden I see this whoosh, like somebody zipped past me really fast. So I get up and I go into her office, and she is in the building in a professional atmosphere, wearing a skirt that was this
Yeah,
size.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
imagine
party.
the skirt is
Yeah,
like up
yeah,
to here.
Yeah.
Yellow, mustard yellow leather,
Ah, so she had really been doing
and
Chicago.
some inappropriate shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, you have to go home.
Right.
And she said, well, I was trying to get to work on time, and I was just going to stay behind my desk until lunchtime, and then I was going to go home and change. No, you got to go home. You got to go home.
Right.
You got to go home. So those are difficult discussions to have. Most people don't like making them.
But yet they have to be maintained and they have to be held if you're going to have some level of decorum.
Yes.
I mean, this is the concern I have today, Sharon. I'm going to be very blunt because the lines have muddied. And
particularly in a professional arena.
Exactly, and the whole thing about we're all in this together and we're all building a team. But somebody has to make those hard decisions. Somebody has to say no. Somebody has to say that's not going to work. And somebody has to say you're fired. Yeah. Somebody has to be willing to do that. And you can't do that if you're boogalooing and partying with staff.
You can do it. You
but
can, but what you will end up with is an organization with employees that don't work well. And then you don't get the performance that you need, and then you're no longer competitive, or you have a grumpy person that's been around too long and becomes a cancer in your whole organization because you didn't. That's what you have a probationary for.
Right.
I did HR for a long time, and I used to tell department heads, that 90-day period is just as much for that new employee as it is for you.
Right.
And
right.
your
totally
best bet is to use that 90 days to efficiently help get people through to the next step or to identify someone who won't work.
Right.
But if you let that person stay around for 20 years.
Oh my God.
And there's no paper trail.
Oh my God. You can't get rid of them.
Not just that though, by you not doing your job as a leader, you have efficiently told this employee that what they're doing is fine.
Well, bring that to where we are today, because I have an ongoing debate, and I know this is a little bit off track with you being in media, but you were in corporate, you do understand how it plays, and we're in a very difficult time in this country's history. First, because so many companies have downsized and are booting out people that are not performance-based. And this is a transition for so many do your own thing type of young people, which is you come into an organization, you're not being paid to do your own thing, you're paid to do a job and to be specific on performance expectations. Have you found that that performance expectation is clashing with the cultural mindset of many of our young people today? Like I told them, you can't go to work like that. Yes, I can. No, you can't.
I don't know.
You can't go to work like that.
I don't know if you saw Time Magazine maybe a month ago.
No, I haven't.
Had a cover story, and it showed like several young people laying on the floor, or they got the earbuds in, and they got their iPods and their iPads, and they're, you know, jamming and all.
Yeah, yeah.
And the title was "It's All About Me," or something to that effect. And I blame us just as much.
We did.
I think because and my parents and their parents before them was even worse. I think older people have spent so much time struggling that when they had kids, they didn't want their children to struggle. So what they did was, I mean, I'll be the first one to say, I don't believe I spoiled my son, but he wasn't a part of 6 children.
Right.
You know, like when we grew up, there were multiple children.
And we all slept in the same room.
He's an only child.
Right.
So he's never had to share with anybody.
Right.
He has his like own wing. I mean, because he has his own bathroom.
Yes.
He has his own bedroom. He has his own things. He went to private school. He's had a great life.
Right.
And so what happens is, though, we've raised young people to be, they're smart. Now, they're very smart.
Yes, they are.
Don't put a piece of equipment in front of them.
Oh, my God.
If you want to learn how to do a computer or an iPod or anything, ask a young person to set up your computer.
I totally do.
But they're lazy.
Yes.
And they are in that Mark Zuckerberg and Google mentality where at Google you come to work and you can skateboard all through the place and you can wear jeans and you can do all that. That's Google.
That's Google.
That's Google. And so young people, we're not teaching young people how to look professionally. I mean, there was a professor at Central State who told me without question that she was struggling because she had young people coming to her class in pajamas.
What?
Oh yeah. Go to Ohio State. Go to any of them. Because you can't legislate what they wear. And I'm old school. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I know that you're over 18. You can't come in my class.
You're not coming in my class looking like you're going to bed.
But she can't. Professors can't.
Okay.
If you're on the campus at Ohio University and you have a student that comes in slippers, you can't send them out. So that is the mentality. But parents are sending students to school with that behavior. So that says to me that you've been allowed to sleep around in your pajamas all day. Not with my dad.
No. You
gotta get him to put some clothes on.
Put clothes on, get ready for school, and out.
So see, that's the problem. You have young people who have this very casual, and young people will tell you, they're very different today. They will tell you without question, we don't want children. I had a young person say, I don't want any children, I'm too selfish. I don't want to share.
But at least they're honest.
Clarity. Remember I said?
I'm okay with that.
And I believe if you don't want children,
if you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You shouldn't.
But think about that.
But I do think about that.
They want instant gratification. They want to make a lot of money now. They don't have any concept about paying dues. No concept. None.
Who is responsible for that?
We are.
Because you are not going to make a pile of money unless you have something that is so extraordinary, including a pile of money to get you to a pile of money.
But even before that, Michelle, the thing that is so scary to me, that there's a level of disrespect, and I don't mean disrespect in terms of those blatant, harsh things.
Yeah.
I was speaking at a young scholars class, so you think, these are great people, and you do public speaking, so I know you've been here. So I walk in, I'm a speaker. I walk in, I have in my brain what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
But you've been in those situations where you walk in, and you see the audience, and you know what you've prepared won't work.
It won't work.
So I tossed it
Right.
because I can see just by looking around, we're going to have a conversation. This is going to be a come home to Jesus conversation
yeah.
because y'all tripping.
Right.
I walked in there. We had young people who was laying down, had their head down on the desk. We had young men with hats on. We had people that just said crazy stuff. And the first thing I said was, young man, sit up.
Exactly.
Now the teacher is there. Teacher sitting right there. Could easily have done what I did. I said, young man, you have to sit up. And you have to sit up,
right,
young
right.
man.
Right.
And you need to take that hat off your head.
Right.
And I need you to look at me.
Right.
In my eye, we need to exchange eye contact.
Right.
So here I am. I'm supposed to be the speaker.
Oh my God.
And I'm parenting. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not teaching young people how to interact with young people in terms of shaking hands and making eye contact and just basic things that we're not teaching young people. So we're sending them to school, they're getting a great education, but they're not learning how to behave.
Well, it's funny you bring this up because I have a dear friend who went back to graduate school in her 50s, an accomplished national artist who wanted to make a contribution to the educational process. She goes back, gets her master's in education with an emphasis on art, and the job that she has accepted, she's dealing with inner city kids. Mm-hmm. And she told me yesterday, I am going insane. I have been on the job for 3 days, and I'm getting ready to walk. She said the total, she can't from kindergarten to, and then said the principal said to her, well, you need to reach out to their parents. She said the kids are insane. They're flipping around, they're running around. I can't get them to calm down, to even listen. And she said, I just give up. Now, this is a woman that has devoted a tremendous amount of her life to helping disadvantaged youth. And she's like, I don't know what's happened.
We must do better.
But I'm out of control.
We must do better. I have a girlfriend who owns several child care facilities throughout the region.
Okay.
She says, Sharon, we have 2-year-olds who can curse you out and know where to put the words. I'm like, so I didn't believe her. So this is my hand to God. This is the truth. Sunday, I'm getting gas.
Okay.
And I'm at the pump closest to the clerk, but I'm using a card, right? So this truck pulls up next to me. Woman, man in the front of the truck.
Okay.
In the back seat of the truck is a kid, maybe 5.
Okay.
Maybe
a little
6.
person. Okay.
This woman is screaming at this child, cursing this child. You better effing put your seatbelt on. I'm not going to. I mean, she was just. And I mean, I can hear her, and I'm saying, so I'm having a word of prayer to myself.
I know you are, which is, Lord,
Jesus,
don't let me
please
go
don't
off.
let me open my mouth,
Yes,
please,
then,
please.
right.
Okay, now here is the real crutch to the story. After she curses out this 5-year-old child who she knows, she walks over to the clerk and says, in this voice, I'd like $10 on pump number 5, babe. And the clerk said, okay, thank you so much. So I'm sitting here, and here's what I'm saying. You talk nicer to the person you don't even know
than your own child.
And then we wonder why kids are what they are.
That is totally
And so
bizarre.
I'm like, if I thought Children's Services could get there in time, I call them.
Right, but there's no way.
But my heart broke for this baby because this baby is 5.
Yes.
And so children do what they learn.
Yes.
Like, when I was young, my mother used to tell me, dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
Right.
So it was always instilled in me that you can't, oh no, you are Davis' child. You can't leave the house looking like this.
Right.
Ever. I don't care that you're going to Kroger. You can't, it was understood that there was a certain decorum. If you wanted to be successful, there was order.
Right.
There's no order.
That's you said the key word.
There's
Is
no
order.
order. Anything goes now.
And when she told me, she said one of the children wanted to use the bathroom. You can't let a child go to the bathroom unescorted. And so she said, and there were 2 or 3 children that all wanted to use the bathroom. And she said, just calm down. I'm going to take each one of you out. And said that they defecated on themselves. They just did it right there.
No order.
No, and she said,
but then that means there's no order in their house.
well, that's what and then she said another situation, she was talking about not carving up the table, and said the little boy said, well, we don't even have a table. We eat on the floor. And he wasn't saying it as a great revelatory statement. He was just saying it as fact. I eat on the floor. And she said, where do you go with this? And I told her, I'm going to be praying for you. I am going to seriously focus on praying for you.
But you know what she can be? You know, I always tell people, you know, you mentioned earlier how you and I were both inducted into the Ohio Women's Hall of Fame. And
right.
When you get awards and there's a ceremony, you're expected to say some words.
Yes.
So whenever I talk to somebody who's getting ready to be in that position, your natural instinct is to get up and say, I want to thank this person, thank my mom, thank my siblings, thank my husband. You know, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I always say to people, you've been given an opportunity, one that you might not get again. And you might have 1 minute and 30 seconds, which is a powerful amount of time.
It is.
The people who love you know that you love them.
Right.
You don't have to publicly do that. And the reason that I say that is because you never know that one person who's sitting in an audience, who's going to be listening, that you might be able to touch by words of inspiration. So your friend, this child who doesn't have a table, as hard as it is, and I'm not walking in her shoes, so I know it's difficult. She might be that one person
to make that difference.
And
I know that's her heart.
And so she has to, you say a prayer.
Yes.
But I don't believe that God makes mistakes.
I know he does.
And so she probably had many choices in terms of what she wanted to do professionally, sounds like. And she felt that that's where she could make the biggest difference.
That will be.
And even though I say that she might be that one person to help him, he might help her, because just by her reaching out to him will help her understand and acknowledge that she made the right choice of being there. I talk to people all the time, and it's interesting. If you go into an urban city, all the great teachers want to go work at the great schools. It's the challenge schools where nobody wants to go to. And so what ends up happening is that student, like your friends, they don't have options for the best.
Right.
You know,
right,
so
right.
so
You're
I
right.
I always say, you know, that's why when people say to me, because I tell them, look, I grew up in the hood. I will go over in the hood today.
Yes.
And the hood where I grew up is not anything like it was when I grew up. It is rough now.
Yeah, everything's changed.
I still don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I don't, because I know that I believe, and I know for sure, that I have the ability to connect with people.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that Sharon's only able to connect with Michelle, because Michelle is like her.
Right.
And Michelle is educated. I can connect with young people. I love young people.
I do too.
And you have to learn how to talk their language, and I'll talk their language, but I will set boundaries for them. But they will still hang out with me because I'm not beating them to death. I'm helping lift them up.
Okay.
I'm helping to teach. I'm helping to mentor. But we can still kick it and have fun.
And they are fun.
Right. So I just wish
more
fun. And more people who are in great positions. You are in a fabulous position. You believe that your calling was to help people learn more about money.
Yes.
For an African American, that's real important, because I didn't have that when I grew up. My father was educated,
Right.
but he wanted you to get an education.
Right.
But we didn't have those conversations about legacy and owning something and leaving it to people. We didn't have those conversations.
Right.
So that is your calling.
And that's what I do.
And that's what you do.
Yeah,
So that
that's what I
means
do.
you have a gift and you have a power. And for you to not use that to help other people would be wrong.
It would be.
So
It would
your
be.
girlfriend and I know it's Sharon talking, but let me tell you something. I've been through storms. Truly.
Sharon,
Truly. I've been through some storms.
that's a side conversation.
And a lot of people don't know about those storms
Yeah.
because they don't need to know about them.
Right, right,
But I've been through storms.
right.
But I also know that I've been given an opportunity. And so I wake up
Yes.
and I put one foot in front of the other
Yes, yes.
and I just forge ahead.
Yes. That's powerful what you said about you've been through storms, because again, I think that a part of the ascending is going through the storms. You cannot sit at the top
Stay
of your
there.
game. No. You're going to whack, here it comes, here it comes.
And you got to be ready.
And you have to be ready. And that wisdom. And I look at our young people and I say, God, you're so smart. The guys that do all of my telecasting and streaming and Facebook, they're just so smart. And they do it so easily. And I'm like, I can't do this. There's no way.
Yeah, you can.
I'm doing it, but
I'm not young, but let me tell you, I can roll with
I
them.
know, girl, I'm your friend now. I
can
friended
roll
you,
with it,
and I'm
yeah.
like, good Lord, Sharon. But it's all good. But we have to look at our young people in terms of just where are they headed and what are we leaving? What kind of a legacy are we leaving behind for them?
But I tell you, Michelle, I am really proud of the young professionals in this community.
Wonderful.
There is a core group of young professionals who want to be here, not in Chicago.
They want to be in
They
it.
want to be here. These are privileged young people. When I say privileged, I don't mean they're rich.
Yes.
They've had great educations.
Okay.
I mean, great educations. They don't all look like us.
Okay.
A lot of them don't.
Okay.
They want to live downtown. They live right in the urban core. They want to be in the urban core, and they serve. They're out there working for Habitat for Humanity.
See, I love that.
They're working
I
for
love
Clothes
that.
That Work. They're out there, painting buildings and cleaning up and being engaged. And they're going to go to the political meetings because we have a voice and we deserve to be heard.
Right.
And they are out there engaged. I am so proud of the young people in this community. Now, I know it's not everybody.
Right, but it doesn't have to be everybody.
These young people
It
are
doesn't have to be
demanding
everybody.
a seat at the table,
Right.
and they're there.
And you know what? They should have a seat at the table.
So that brings
They
me
should.
hope. That brings
Yeah.
me hope, and I'm inspired by what they do.
Yes.
And they want to help. And I just think that even though you have those pockets of naysayers or people who are not doing it, well, there are people who are not doing it who are old.
Girl, do you not know? Do you not know when we look at our peers? And I mean, actually, I told them, but you wasn't doing nothing when we were young.
I know a lot of those people.
Yes.
I know a lot of those
Oh,
people.
yeah. And now you are where I am in my 60s, and you still are not doing nothing. So what is your contribution to the well-being of this planet and this community and our people?
And I would say this, because I know we're probably running short on time.
Yeah.
But I know what I always say to people, because I try to help lots of people.
Yes.
Because I really didn't have mentors in my business.
See,
there weren't people who were helping me
Right.
come along.
Right.
So I always try to help bring people along and get great internships for people or help them.
Yes.
But the other thing leadership and people who are in power, who will ultimately have money, need to know, you can't save everybody.
Oh my goodness. You're just going to hit me in my face.
I used to walk around with a big old S on my
I
chest
know,
thinking, I'm Superwoman, I can save everybody. And then I
No.
learned some people you have to leave.
Yes.
You have to leave. It is harsh. But some people you can't even pull along.
Jeez, Sharon.
And then you have to go to sleep and you have to rest about it.
Yes.
You can't obsess about it. If you know in your heart that you've done everything you can and they still don't want to play in the sandbox,
Do Lucy.
I'm sorry. You can't save everybody.
You know, that is such a powerful thing. And it's such an affirming thing, frankly, in the time that we have left. You can't save
You can't.
everyone.
You can't.
You can't do it.
You can't. And I
All
think
you
it's
can
our
do
nature.
is what you can do.
All you can do is what you can do. And I tell people, and this is the mistake people make in corporate America, rank and file employees believe that their entire future rests with the person who they report to or some higher up person.
Right.
That they're responsible for me getting a promotion. They're responsible for me to get a raise. They're responsible for me to get better benefits. They believe all of the onus lies within the leadership of an organization. Not true.
Absolutely
A
not
rank
true.
and file employee has 50% of this party. Okay?
Yes.
So you have just as much to invest as the person has to invest in you. So when I say that you can't save everybody, as a leader, your job is to help develop talent. Okay?
Right.
Some people are going to be like a sponge and they're going to suck up everything that you have to offer.
Right.
Some people are going to sit back and go, I don't have to do nothing. I just want to check.
Right. Right.
I'm just going to build this car on this line at the GM plant and it's going to be fine. Because all I like to do is put that
Right.
little peg in that little hole.
Right.
And that's all I want to do. And I want to go home. Okay, then 15 years later, the person standing
Right.
next to you might be in the front office. You're still putting that peg in the hole.
Right.
And you probably are rocking that peg in the hole.
You're proficient, if nothing else.
But then
15
you
years.
don't have a right to get mad at the person who left you, who used to be standing
Right.
next to you.
Right.
Because that person was a sponge and sucked up the knowledge, got the training, invested in him or herself, took advantage of opportunities,
And moved on out.
and moved on out. So all you
Right.
can do is do that. Along the way, some people are going to come along and join the party. Some people you will have to leave behind. Some people you will have to leave behind because you cannot save everybody.
That's a powerful conclusion.
Just
Wow.
can't. We think we can.
Wow. This was supposed to be a segue interview, Sharon. We were not supposed to be talking about corporate hierarchy and politics.
But it all comes back
it
to
all,
money.
But it,
Well, it all
yeah,
comes back to
oh
money.
yeah, it's gonna all come back to
People
money.
think it's just this in your wallet.
No.
Corporate, leadership, opportunities, all of those things, education, all are the pathway to what? Money.
Money. And viewers, you heard it from the best. I really mean it. Sharon Howard is a force to be reckoned with. If you have not thought about her or her services or what she's doing, you need to. If you're in the nonprofit sector in leadership, or if you're in corporate, private sector in leadership, or you're a politician, you need to call. What's your number? I didn't even give your number.
937-546-2003.
Say it again.
937-546-2003.
And on that note, we are concluding today's segment of The Power of Money with my extraordinary guest, Sharon Howard, media consultant par excellence. I'll see you next time. You be blessed.
Girl, we just gonna have to